The Day I Talk Marriage. I'm Leslie Dories, owner of Foundations Coaching and creator of the Hero Husband Project. And I'm really glad you're here with me today because today I'm going to be talking about a really, really important topic, and that's about is your marriage in balance? And there are a lot of people who think that marriage is 50-50. And so they start scorekeeping. Well, I do this, and so you should do that. And they keep score. And quite frankly, it's sort of like the old Lake Wobegon thing where, all the women are strong, all the men are good looking, and all of the children are above average, where you can't do that. So many people misjudge what they're doing in their marriage. They always think that they are doing more. And if you feel like you're doing more, then guess what? You're going to feel resentful. So if you've ever felt resentful, or if you're actually one of those people who think marriage is 50-50, just give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Say, yep, that's what I think. Because actually, marriage is 100-100. You both need to be putting in effort into every aspect of your relationship. And one of the things that I've said for a long time is that you don't get to opt out of a major aspect of your relationship. So whether that's knowing about the finances and participating in financial decisions, whether it's co-equal parenting, actually I should say mutual parenting, because it's not always going to be equal, whether it's your physical intimate life, whether it's running the household, I don't care what it is. You each have ownership and responsibility in it. And I know that one of the things that gets a lot of couples into hot water is who does what around the house. And again, please don't do 50-50. That generally isn't going to work. There's all kinds of reasons why it won't be 50-50, but people should be participating. And because it gets the relationship out of balance. And one way to know your relationship is out of balance is if you're angry at your partner. If you think you've been asking your partner to do things over and over and over again, and nothing seems to change. So if that's you, let me know, because you are not alone. But what it is no system in your relationship gets set up without you agreeing to it. And I'm going to tell you, I hear you. I'm going to say, Leslie, I don't agree. Well, I'm going to tell you, if it is still happening, on some level, you agree. Many years ago, I worked with a couple, and he was verbally abusive to her. I mean, he was verbally abusive to her in front of me. And at one point in time, when I had her alone, I said, why the first time he called you a bitch, was it okay? And she said, well, it wasn't. I said, well, 12 years later, he's still doing it. So obviously, on some level, he's gotten the idea that it's okay. And I get it. I know it's really hard to stand up and say that's not okay treatment. So whether it's somebody who calls you names, or whether it's somebody who doesn't pull their weight around the house, it's not okay. Or worse, well, not worse, but in the same line, if you're living in a sexless marriage and that's not okay with you, your marriage is out of balance. And it's not going to get back in balance all by itself. It just isn't. I wish it were, but it's not going to, because one of you is okay with the way things are. But if only one of you is happy in your marriage, guess what? Your marriage isn't going to be happy. And yes, when you, and I know I hear this all the time, but I've said, yes. And if you say something without any consequence for it not happening, then basically what you're saying is, I'm okay with this. Now, you and I know you're not, and you and I both know it's going to cause problems down the line. But in the moment, that your partner is going to go, oh, they're okay with this, but you're miserable. And one of the things I say all the time is miserable and marriage do not belong in the same sentence. But if you're miserable in your marriage, or if things aren't going the way you want them to go, I've got a question. What are you doing about it? And yelling about it isn't the answer. Stonewalling and withdrawing isn't the answer. Actually taking effective action is the answer. And and people go, well, and again, I've talked until I'm blue in the face. It's like, well, talking isn't going to work. I always like to talk about, I'm sure if you've ever been out in a restaurant or someplace where there are parents and small children, or not even necessarily small children, where the parent will say, if you do that again, we're going to leave. And I want to go over to that person and go, I've heard you say that 5 times. I don't believe you. Why should your child? And guess what? That's what happens in your marriage too. And I'm not saying threaten divorce. Oh my gosh, that is not going to help. I don't believe in threats. What I believe in is making statements and holding to them. Your partner has to know that the way things are going right now is not okay. And please don't yell at them, because all that's going to do is they'll just ignore you, or they'll wait you out. Don't come at them with the word you. You do this, you do that, you never help around the house, you never have sex with me, whatever the you is. That's not going to work either. Okay. Part of this is first getting very clear with yourself about what's going on that you don't like. And here's the important part. What is your part in this? Okay. Because no system gets set up if one person is in absolute non-agreement. Okay. And this isn't about blowing up your marriage. Please don't think that either. But it's about making changes. So if you want something to change in your marriage, let me know. Write it down, put it in the comment section. Let me know what it is you want changed in your marriage. And I promise you, I'll get back to you about that. I will give you an answer. Okay. But I'm going to tell you, one of the things you're going to have to do is you're going to have to do something different, because what you're doing isn't working. And that's not your fault. Okay. Because you didn't go to Relationship 101 class. Nobody had to. And you're doing what you know. The problem is that there's other things out there that you can learn that will help you do this. Okay. And it doesn't have to result in a fight. Now, that's not to say that your partner is going to be rah-rah cheerleader, sure, let's go. Although you've got a better chance of that in the way that you approach them. And when you are clear. And that's why threats don't work. Because most of the time, it's you do this or else. Okay, but nobody wants to do the or else. And if you've said that to your partner, if this doesn't happen, then this other thing is going to happen. And the first thing happens, and the second thing doesn't, like my previous client whose husband called her names, they don't believe you. It's the boy who cried wolf. You're telling me that this is a problem, but I keep doing it and life still goes on and my life is just fine. So it obviously isn't a problem. Okay. It is a problem. But how you're dealing with it isn't the right way. Okay. But you can learn how to do it differently, how to do it better. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Yes, it is quite possible that your partner will not do what you're asking them to do. That is a true statement. But wouldn't you rather know that now than 10 years from now? And again, it's not about a threat. It's not about a threat about leaving, but it's being very clear that your marriage is out of balance, that you feel taken advantage of, you feel like you're doing everything. And if you are, why? Why are you doing everything? And I know the answer I get is because it wouldn't get done if you didn't do it. Well, first off, I'm going to call BS on that. And second off, then there's a bigger problem. Okay? And it's about unlearning the unproductive behaviors and learning productive behaviors, because a marriage out of balance is going to sink. And again, there are times when, and this is why counting and scorekeeping and going 50-50 isn't going to work, because in some areas, somebody may be doing more over here in the finances and somebody else may be doing more over here in the parenting. That's okay. It's a question of does it feel equitable? And are we being honest about that? Do I know what it is my partner's doing? Does my partner know what I'm doing? I don't know. But these are the things that you need to think about, okay? And it's not easy, because nobody teaches marriage. I really think nobody teaches marriage before you get married, and I think they should, because it's a complicated relationship, and you matter as much as your partner matters, and that's what makes it 100-100. Is you both have to put stuff in. And what happens is I'm putting in this stuff and I don't think my partner's putting in this stuff, so I'm going to pull out my stuff, and then my partner pulls out this stuff, and then we're all running around and doing the same old thing over and over again. That's not going to work. Okay. But examine where you think your relationship is out of balance, and then identify what would need to happen to bring it back into balance, and then sit down and have a calm conversation with your partner about that. Okay? And let me know how it goes. As I said before, I want to know what it is you want to change, and I'm going to give you some advice about that. And then I want to know how it goes, because life is way too short to be not in an okay marriage. So hopefully that was helpful. Let me know what you think. And until next week, stay loving.